Have you ever caught yourself trapped in the endless cycle of thoughts, replaying the same moment over and over again, wondering what someone meant by their words or why they acted a certain way? The mind becomes a restless traveler, wandering through the past, trying to uncover meanings that may not even exist. You see a familiar face, and they don't acknowledge you. Instantly, your thoughts begin to race. Did I offend them? Have they changed? Did I do something wrong? Hours pass, and you are still thinking about it. But what if their silence had nothing to do with you? What if they were lost in their own thoughts, just as you are now? Overthinking is like carrying a heavy burden, an invisible weight that follows you everywhere. The more you dwell on a thought, the heavier it gets. The worst part? Most of what we overthink is nothing more than a story created in our minds, a fiction woven from assumptions and fears, making us restless over things that don't even exist in reality. The mind is like an open sky, and thoughts are just passing clouds. But instead of letting them drift away, we hold on to them, turning them into storms that darken our peace. Many believe that overthinking is a sign of caring, that constantly thinking about someone means they matter to us. But is it truly care, or is it attachment? Real care is light, free, and peaceful. Overthinking is heavy, painful, and draining. The difference is clear. One nourishes the soul, the other exhausts it. Imagine a river flowing naturally. The water does not struggle against the rocks. It moves around them effortlessly. Overthinking, however, is like trying to grab water with your hands. The tighter you hold, the more it slips through your fingers, leaving you frustrated and lost. There is an old saying, "You only lose what you cling to." The more you hold on to unnecessary thoughts, the more you suffer. If you can learn to let go, even just a little, you will notice how light everything becomes. The key is awareness. The moment you realize that you are overthinking, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me, or is it making me suffer? If it is only causing pain, then why hold on to it? Caring about others is natural, but obsessing over them is not. Thinking about someone constantly will not change reality. It will only drain your energy. Imagine holding a rope tightly. The harder you grip, the more it burns your hands. But the moment you release it, the pain disappears. This is what attachment does. The mind clings to people, to expectations, to the way we think things should be. And when reality does not match our expectations, we feel pain. But is it the situation that hurts, or is it our attachment to how we wanted things to be? Think of a time when you waited for a reply from someone, checking your phone again and again, feeling anxious when they didn't respond as quickly as you expected. Was it their silence that caused the anxiety, or was it your attachment to an outcome? When you let go of expectations, you set yourself free. People are living their own lives, lost in their own thoughts, just as you are lost in yours. No one exists to fulfill your expectations. The more you cling, the more you suffer. Detachment is often misunderstood. Some believe it means cutting people off, becoming distant, or shutting down emotions. But true detachment is not about rejecting love or connection. It is about releasing control. It is about understanding that you cannot force anything in this life. Not love, not attention, not someone's presence. When you admire a flower, you do not try to hold on to it forever. You appreciate its beauty, knowing it will eventually wither. But if you try to pluck it, to possess it, it begins to die. This is what we do in relationships. Instead of appreciating people for who they are, we try to hold on to them, to make them ours, to control the outcome. And in doing so, we lose the very peace that comes from simply being present. The moment you learn to detach, you begin to see life as it is, not as you wish it to be. When someone suddenly stops talking to you, attachment makes you feel rejected. Overthinking every moment, analyzing their words, searching for hidden meanings. But detachment allows you to accept things as they are. People change. Situations shift. Life moves forward. Holding on does not stop this. It only makes the transition more painful. The mind is like a cup. If you fill it with unnecessary thoughts, it overflows, creating a mess. But when you empty it, there is space for clarity, for peace, for new experiences. Letting go does not mean you stop loving. It means you love without fear, without conditions, without expectations. Have you ever noticed how, when you stop chasing something, it often comes to you effortlessly? When you stop expecting, life surprises you in the most beautiful ways. The ocean does not try to control the waves. It simply allows them to rise and fall. This is detachment. It is not about fighting reality. It is about flowing with it. If you resist the waves, you will only exhaust yourself. But if you learn to move with them, you will never drown. Observe your thoughts. The next time you find yourself overthinking about someone, pause. Ask yourself, why am I holding on to this thought? Is it serving me, or is it keeping me stuck? Not everything needs to be analyzed. Some things are meant to be felt, acknowledged, and then released. Accept reality as it is. Not every person will treat you the way you expect. Not every relationship will last forever. And that is okay. Trying to control the uncontrollable only leads to suffering. When you let go of control, you create space for peace. Focus on yourself. The more energy you give to others, the less you have for your own growth. Shift your attention inward. Invest in your own well-being. When you make yourself a priority, you realize that your peace is not dependent on anyone else. Trust life. Everything happens for a reason. If someone drifts away, perhaps it is making space for someone better. If things do not go as planned, perhaps they are leading you towards something greater. Life has a way of unfolding exactly as it should, even if you cannot see the full picture yet. The truth about overthinking and attachment is simple. The more you hold on, the more you suffer. The more you let go, the lighter you feel. A bird does not cling to the branch it sits on. It rests lightly, ready to fly at any moment. This is how we should live. Light, free, unattached. Ask yourself, are you holding on to something that is making you suffer? Are you gripping the rope too tightly? If the answer is yes, then maybe it is time to loosen your hold. Because true peace, true freedom, and true happiness do not come from clinging. They come from learning to let go. There comes a time when you must ask yourself, how much longer will you allow your peace to be dictated by things beyond your control? How many nights will you lose sleep over conversations that have already ended? How much of your energy will be spent trying to understand the actions of others? When the truth is, people act not according to what you deserve, but according to who they are. The weight of overthinking is not carried by the situation itself, but by your mind's inability to let go. And the longer you hold on, the heavier it becomes. Imagine walking through a vast field, holding a balloon in your hand. You grip it tightly, believing that if you let go, you will lose something important. But what if the very act of holding on is what is keeping you trapped? What if the balloon is not meant to be controlled, but released. This is what attachment does. It convinces you that you need to hold on to thoughts, to people, to expectations, when in reality, peace is found in the release. Overthinking is a silent thief. It steals your moments, your joy, your ability to be present. It takes a single thought and turns it into a never-ending cycle, pulling you further from the reality of now. The mind whispers doubts, magnifies insecurities, creates stories that do not exist. And before you know it, you are drowning in a sea of imagined problems, losing touch with the simplicity of what actually is. But what if you step back? What if, instead of being caught in the storm of your thoughts, you became the observer? Thoughts are like passing clouds. They form, they drift, they dissolve. You are not the clouds. You are the sky. The moment you recognize this, the moment you understand that thoughts do not define you, you reclaim your power. You are not bound by what your mind creates. You are free. Think about the things you have worried about in the past, the conversations you replayed in your head, the people you thought you would never move on from, the situations that felt impossible to let go of. And yet, here you are. Time has passed. Life has moved forward. The things that once consumed you no longer hold the same power. What does this tell you? It tells you that your mind often tricks you into believing that something is more important than it really is. That what feels overwhelming now will one day be a distant memory. Attachment makes you believe that you need to control how things unfold. That if you hold on tightly enough, you can prevent people from leaving, situations from changing, pain from coming. But control is an illusion. No matter how much you overthink, analyze, or plan, life will still unfold as it is meant to. And the tighter you hold on, the more you suffer. Imagine standing in the ocean, trying to stop the waves from reaching you. You push against the water, trying to control its movement. But no matter how much you resist, the waves continue to come. The struggle exhausts you. But the moment you stop fighting, the moment you allow the water to flow, trusting that you have the strength to handle whatever comes. Many people mistake detachment for indifference. They believe that letting go means not caring, that choosing peace means giving up. But detachment is not about becoming cold. It is about choosing not to suffer unnecessarily. It is about understanding that love does not require possession, that peace does not require control. It is about freeing yourself from the need to force things to be a certain way, and instead allowing them to be as they are. Ask yourself, how much of your suffering comes from the expectations you place on others? The belief that people should act a certain way, that situations should unfold according to your plans? The reality is, no one exists to fulfill your expectations. People will act according to their own nature, and the more you attach your happiness to their actions, the more powerless you become. Think of a flower in the wild. It does not demand that the sun shine every day. It does not expect the rain to fall exactly when it needs it. It simply grows, adapts, flourishes with whatever conditions come its way. This is how life should be lived, not with resistance, not with constant expectation, but with trust. The ability to adapt, to accept, to let go of the need for control. That is where true peace is found. How many moments have you missed because you were lost in thought? How many times has your mind pulled you away from the present, trapping you in a cycle of worry and regret? The mind is always moving, either replaying the past or anticipating the future. But life is happening now, in this breath, in this moment. And if you are too lost in thought, you will miss it. Letting go is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. Every day, you will be faced with moments where you must choose. Will you hold on to this thought, this expectation, this fear? Or will you release it and trust that life will take care of itself? Attachment says, if this person leaves, I will be lost. Detachment says, if this person stays, I will love them fully. If they leave, I will love them from afar. Attachment says, if things don't go according to plan, I will suffer. Detachment says, if things go differently than expected, I will trust that something better is meant for me. The key is awareness. The next time you find yourself overthinking, stop. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me? Or is it only adding to my suffering? If it is not bringing peace, then why hold on to it? You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. The moment you understand this, you become free. The moment you learn to let go, you begin to experience life as it truly is, without fear, without resistance, without unnecessary pain. Look around you. Life is not waiting for you to stop overthinking. The sun is still shining. The wind is still blowing. Time is still moving. The world does not pause for your worries. So why let your worries pause your life? Let go of the need to control. Let go of the need to have all the answers. Let go of the belief that you must overthink your way into certainty. Life is uncertain. That is its nature. But within that uncertainty, there is beauty. There is freedom. There is the possibility of something greater than you can imagine. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that is keeping you from peace? What thought, what expectation, what attachment is weighing you down? And if you had the courage to release it, to trust, to flow with life instead of resisting it, how much lighter would you feel? The truth is, peace was never something you had to find. It was always here, beneath the noise of your mind, beneath the weight of your worries, waiting for you to let go. There comes a moment when you must decide. Do you want to keep holding on to things that only exist in your mind, or do you want to set yourself free? How many times have you replayed the same conversation, analyzed the same situation, or wondered how things could have been different? How much time have you spent living in memories that no longer exist, in futures that have not yet arrived, while the present moment slips away unnoticed? The truth is, most suffering does not come from what is happening. It comes from the mind's inability to let go. It comes from the belief that if you think about something enough, you can change the outcome. But the past cannot be rewritten, and the future is beyond your control. So why do you allow yourself to be trapped in a cycle of overthinking, reliving pain that has already passed, fearing outcomes that may never come? Imagine a bird sitting on a tree branch. It does not cling to the branch in fear of it breaking. It trusts its wings. It knows that no matter what happens, it has the ability to fly. This is how life should be lived. Not with attachment, not with fear, but with trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the flow of life. Trust that no matter what happens, из зрения вы найдете свой путь. The problem is not the thoughts themselves, it is the attachment to them. A thought arises, and instead of letting it pass, you hold on to it. You turn it over in your mind, searching for deeper meaning, dissecting every detail, until it becomes bigger than it ever needed to be. But thoughts are not reality. They are just passing visitors, clouds drifting through the sky of your mind. You do not need to attach yourself to every cloud. You can simply watch them come and go. Ask yourself, how many of your worries have ever come true? How many of the worst-case scenarios your mind created actually happened? The mind is designed to protect you, but in doing so, it often creates fear where none is needed. And if you are not careful, you will live in a prison built by your own thoughts, trapped in fears that were never real to begin with. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you close yourself off from emotions or relationships. It means you stop tying your happiness to things beyond your control. It means you allow life to unfold naturally, without forcing, without clinging, without trying to mold it into something it was never meant to be. Think about a river. The water flows effortlessly, moving around rocks, adapting to whatever path it must take. It does not resist. It does not stop to question why a rock is in its way. It simply moves, knowing that its journey continues no matter what obstacles arise. This is how life should be approached, with fluidity, with ease, with trust. The reason most people suffer is because they resist what is. They argue with reality, believing that things should have happened differently, that people should have acted another way. But reality is what it is. People are who they are. You cannot change the past, and you cannot control the future. What you can control is how you respond. You can either resist, creating unnecessary pain, or you can accept, allowing yourself to find peace even in imperfection. How many times have you waited for closure from someone else, believing that if they just apologized, if they just gave you an explanation, you could finally move on? But closure is not something that comes from others. It is something you give to yourself. It is deciding that you do not need an apology to heal. It is realizing that your peace is not in their hands, but in yours. Letting go is an act of self-love. It is choosing to stop carrying the weight of things that no longer serve you. It is understanding that no amount of overthinking will change what has already happened. It is making the conscious decision to free yourself from the chains of the past. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents a regret, a fear, an expectation, a thought you cannot let go of. The weight is exhausting, yet you continue carrying it, believing that you must. But what if you set the bag down? What if you realize that you were never meant to carry it forever? What if, in letting go, you found freedom? So much suffering comes from the illusion of control. People believe that if they worry enough, if they plan enough, they can prevent bad things from happening. But life does not work that way. No amount of overthinking will guarantee a perfect outcome. No amount of planning will prevent change. And the sooner you accept this, the lighter you will feel. Think about the last time you lost something: a relationship, an opportunity, a version of yourself you once identified with. At the time, it may have felt unbearable. You may have believed that you would never move forward, but you did. Time passed, life continued. And what once felt like the end became just another chapter in your story. This is proof that you are stronger than you think, that pain does not last forever, that healing happens whether you realize it or not. So why do you still hold on to things that were meant to be let go of? Why do you still replay old conversations, still wonder about people who have already moved on, still fear outcomes that have not even happened? Imagine how much lighter you would feel if you released the need for control, if you stopped trying to rewrite the past, if you let go of expectations, trusting that what is meant for you will never require force. You do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to figure everything out right now. Life is not a puzzle to be solved. It is a journey to be experienced. And the more you try to control every step, the more you miss out on the beauty of simply being. Take a deep breath. Let go of the thoughts that are weighing you down. Allow yourself to exist in this moment without analyzing, without worrying, without holding on to things that do not bring you peace. You are not your past. You are not your worries. You are not the things that did not work out. You are here, now, in this moment. And this moment is enough. Peace is not something you find. It is something you create. It is choosing to let go of the things that disturb your mind. It is choosing to release attachment, to accept what is, to trust that life is unfolding exactly as it should. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that is preventing your peace? What thoughts, what memories, what fears are keeping you stuck? And if you had the strength to release them, to trust, to let life flow instead of forcing it, how much freer would you feel? The truth is, freedom was never outside of you. It was always here, waiting for you to stop searching, to stop holding on, to stop believing that you needed something more. All you ever needed was already within you. You just have to be willing to see it. There comes a moment when you must ask yourself, how much of your suffering is real? And how much of it is simply a story you have been telling yourself? How many times have you let a single thought spiral into an entire storm of emotions? How often do you assume the worst, replay conversations that no longer matter, or create scenarios in your mind that do nothing but bring you pain? The truth is, most suffering is not caused by reality itself, but by the mind's inability to let go. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, seeing your own reflection, but instead of just looking at yourself, you start analyzing every detail. You pick apart every flaw, every imperfection, every little thing that no one else would even notice. What happens? The more you focus on these small details, the bigger they become in your mind. But step back, and suddenly, the imperfections fade. You see the whole picture, not just the small details you were obsessing over. This is how overthinking works. It magnifies problems, makes them seem larger than they are, and keeps you trapped in a cycle of unnecessary suffering. You are not meant to carry every thought. Not everything needs to be figured out. Not every question needs an answer. The mind is always seeking something to hold on to, something to solve, something to dissect. But peace is not found in figuring everything out. It is found in surrender. It is found in realizing that life does not need to be controlled, that people do not need to be understood, that not every situation requires closure. Think about all the times you have waited for an apology that never came, the times you have replayed old conversations, wondering what you could have said differently, the times you have held on to resentment, believing that if you let it go, you would be allowing someone to win. But who is truly suffering in this scenario? The person who has moved on, or the one still holding on to the pain? Holding on to the past does not change it. Overthinking the future does not control it. The only thing you ever truly have is the present moment. But how many moments have you missed because your mind was somewhere else? How many times have you been physically present but mentally lost in a thought that did nothing but drain your energy? Imagine walking through a beautiful garden, surrounded by flowers, fresh air, the warmth of the sun on your skin. But instead of enjoying it, your mind is elsewhere, thinking about something that happened years ago, worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet. The beauty of the present is right in front of you, but you are missing it. And when you finally snap out of your thoughts, the moment is gone. This is what happens every day to so many people. They are alive, but they are not truly living. They are lost in a world that only exists in their minds. Letting go is not something that happens overnight. It is a practice, a decision you must make every single day. Every time your mind pulls you into the past, you have a choice to stay there or to return to the present. Every time you feel yourself overthinking, you can choose to stop, to breathe, to remind yourself that thoughts are not facts. You do not have to believe everything your mind tells you. You do not have to engage with every thought that arises. The mind is like a room full of voices. Some are kind, some are harsh, some are full of fear. But you do not have to listen to them all. You get to choose which voices you give power to. You get to decide what thoughts you feed and what thoughts you starve. Have you ever noticed how different life feels when you are fully present? When you are not stuck in your mind, but actually engaged in the moment? Time slows down. Colors seem brighter, even the simplest things, like the sound of rain, the feeling of the wind, the warmth of a smile, become beautiful. This is not because the world has changed, but because your awareness has. Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you become emotionless or detached from life. It means you stop holding on to things that were never yours to carry. It means you stop letting temporary emotions shape your entire identity. It means you trust that life will unfold exactly as it is meant to, whether you worry about it or not. Think of a river flowing freely. It does not cling to the rocks, does not resist the current, does not try to change direction forcefully. It simply moves, adapting, embracing each twist and turn. But imagine if the river tried to hold on to every rock in its path, tried to fight against the flow. It would become stagnant, trapped. This is what happens when you resist life, when you cling to things that are meant to pass, when you refuse to let go. What are you holding on to that is keeping you stuck? What thoughts? What memories? What expectations are preventing you from moving forward? What would happen if just for a moment you decided to release them? There is a common belief that thinking more about something will help you understand it better. That if you analyze something enough, you will finally reach clarity. But often, the opposite is true. The more you overthink, the more confused you become. The more you obsess, the more distant peace feels. True clarity does not come from excessive thinking. It comes from stillness. It comes when you stop searching for answers and allow them to come to you naturally. Think about a lake. When the water is still, it reflects everything perfectly. But when the surface is disturbed, everything is distorted. This is the mind. The more you stir it with unnecessary thoughts, the less you can see clearly. But when you quiet the mind, when you let go of the need to control everything, clarity returns on its own. There is nothing in life that is truly permanent. Feelings change, people come and go, situations shift. And yet, so many people cling to things as if they will last forever. They resist change, fearing the unknown, wishing for things to remain the same. But life is movement. Nothing is meant to stay exactly as it is. The more you fight change, the more you suffer. The more you embrace it, the freer you become. So ask yourself, what are you resisting? What changes are you afraid of? What would happen if, instead of fighting against the current of life, you allowed yourself to flow with it? The hardest truth to accept is that nothing outside of you can truly bring you lasting happiness. Not a person, not a job, not an achievement. Because everything external is temporary. The only real, lasting peace comes from within. It comes from learning to be okay with what is, from realizing that you do not need to hold on to anything to feel whole. You are not your thoughts. You are not your fears. You are not the past, nor the future. You are something far deeper than any passing emotion, any fleeting worry. You are the observer, the awareness behind it all. And the moment you realize this, you become free. So take a deep breath. Let go of what is not serving you. Stop trying to control what was never meant to be controlled. Trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. And in doing so, you will discover something that has been waiting for you all along. Peace. There comes a moment when you realize that the things you have been holding on to are the very things that have been holding you back. The past, the regrets, the conversations that still echo in your mind, none of them exist anymore except in your thoughts. And yet, you carry them as if they are part of who you are. But what if you set them down? What if you stopped carrying the weight of what is already gone? The mind has a way of convincing you that if you think about something enough, you can change it. That if you replay a moment over and over, you will find a new outcome, a different ending. But the past is a closed book. No amount of thinking will rewrite its pages. The only thing you have control over is how much power you continue to give it. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, holding a handful of sand. The tighter you grip it, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you loosen your hold, when you allow the sand to simply rest in your palm, it stays. This is how life works. The more you try to control it, the more it resists. The more you allow, the more peace you find. Overthinking is not preparation. It does not protect you. It does not bring clarity. It only creates an illusion of control. The mind believes that if it can analyze a situation from every angle, it can prevent pain. But pain is not something you can think your way out of. It is something you must move through. And often, the only way to truly move forward is to stop thinking and start feeling. Ask yourself, how much of your life have you spent inside your own head, lost in thoughts that do nothing but drain your energy? How many moments have you missed because you were too busy worrying about what was or what could be? Life is happening right now, in front of you, but you cannot see it if you are always somewhere else. The need for control is one of the biggest causes of suffering. People want certainty. They want guarantees. They want to know exactly how things will unfold. But life does not work that way. Life is unpredictable, ever-changing, impossible to grasp. And the more you try to control it, the more you suffer. Think about the last time something did not go as planned. The last time someone let you down. The last time an opportunity slipped away. At the time, it may have felt unbearable. But did it not lead you somewhere new? Did it not teach you something? Did it not reveal something about yourself that you would not have otherwise seen? Nothing is truly lost. Every ending is a beginning. Every closed door is a redirection. But you will not see this if you are too focused on what is gone. You must trust that what is meant for you will always find you. Not through force, not through overthinking, but through allowing. Imagine a river flowing effortlessly. It does not fight against the rocks in its path. It does not try to change direction. It simply moves, adjusting, adapting, trusting that wherever it is going is exactly where it is meant to be. This is how life is meant to be lived, not with resistance, not with fear, but with trust. How many times have you believed that you needed someone else's validation to feel worthy? How often have you attached your happiness to the actions of another person? But no one outside of you can give you what you are searching for. No amount of love, attention, or approval from others will ever fill the void that only self-acceptance can. You are not incomplete. You are never lacking. The love, the peace, the sense of fulfillment you are seeking has always been within you. But you must be willing to see it. You must be willing to stop searching outside yourself for things that can only be found within. Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you forget. It means you stop giving power to what no longer serves you. It means you choose to focus on what is in front of you, rather than what is behind you. It means you trust that whatever is meant for you will never require you to chase it. Think about the things that have consumed your thoughts lately, the things you have been overanalyzing, the worries that have been weighing you down. Now ask yourself, what would happen if you simply let them be? If you stopped trying to figure everything out, if you stopped trying to control every outcome, if you just allowed life to unfold as it was meant to? You do not need to have all the answers right now. You do not need to know exactly what comes next. Life will reveal itself in time. Your only job is to be present, to trust, to allow. Imagine how much lighter you would feel if you stopped carrying the unnecessary weight of overthinking. If you trusted that you are exactly where you are meant to be, that everything is unfolding in perfect timing. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. You cannot control what happens, but you can control how much power you give to it. You can decide in this moment to release what does not serve you, to let go of thoughts that do nothing but steal your peace, to free yourself from the illusion that you need to control everything to be happy. The truth is, peace is not something you find. It is something you create. It is something you choose, moment by moment, thought by thought. And the moment you decide to stop overthinking, to stop attaching yourself to every fleeting emotion, to stop resisting life, you will realize that peace was always within you. It was simply waiting for you to let go. There comes a moment when you must ask yourself, how much longer will you allow your mind to hold you captive? How many more nights will you spend overanalyzing words that were spoken long ago, or replaying situations that no longer exist? How many more moments will you waste trying to control what is already beyond your reach? The weight of overthinking is not just a mental burden. It is something that drains your spirit, something that keeps you from fully living. The truth is, the things you obsess over, the things you worry about, they do not have as much power over you as you think. It is not the situation that causes suffering. It is your attachment to it. It is the story your mind creates, the meaning you assign to it, the way you let it define you. But the past is not a prison. The future is not a threat. The only thing keeping you trapped is your own unwillingness to let go. Imagine a bird sitting on a tree branch. It does not fear the branch breaking beneath it because it trusts its own wings. It knows that no matter what happens, it has the ability to rise, to move, to adapt. This is how you must approach life, not with the fear of losing control, but with the confidence that no matter what happens, you have the strength to handle it. The mind is always searching for something to hold on to, something to solve, something to fix. It convinces you that if you think about something long enough, you will find clarity. But overthinking does not create solutions. It only creates confusion. It turns small problems into mountains, simple thoughts into endless loops. The more you feed it, the stronger it becomes. Ask yourself, how many of your fears have ever truly come to life? How many of the things you worried about actually happened? And even when things did not go as planned, did you not survive? Did you not grow? Did you not learn something valuable? The mind wants certainty, but life does not offer guarantees. The more you try to control, the more you suffer. But the moment you surrender, the moment you stop gripping so tightly, everything becomes lighter. Think of water in a stream. If you try to hold on to it, it slips through your fingers. But if you simply let it flow, it moves freely, effortlessly. This is how peace is found, not in grasping, not in forcing, but in allowing. How often have you allowed the actions of others to dictate your emotions? How many times have you attached your happiness to someone else's behavior? But people do not exist to meet your expectations. They are living their own stories, carrying their own struggles, making choices based on their own perspectives. The more you try to control how others act, the more you set yourself up for disappointment. Detachment is not indifference. It does not mean you stop feeling, stop caring, or stop loving. It means you stop tying your worth to things outside of you. It means you understand that love is not possession, that peace is not found in control, that happiness does not come from forcing things to go your way. Imagine holding a kite in the wind. If you pull too hard, if you try to force it to stay exactly where you want, it will break. But if you let it move, if you allow it the freedom to rise and fall, it dances in the sky beautifully. This is how relationships, emotions, and even life itself should be approached, with openness, with trust, with the understanding that everything is temporary, and that is what makes it precious. Many people fear letting go because they believe it means losing something. But what if letting go is not about loss, but about freedom? What if it is not about giving up, but about making space for something better? What if, by releasing your grip, you finally allow yourself to receive what was meant for you all along? Think about the last time you felt truly at peace. Was it in a moment of control or in a moment of surrender? Was it when you were forcing things to go your way, or when you simply allowed yourself to be? Peace is not something you chase. It is something you create by choosing, moment by moment, to let go of what is weighing you down. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. You cannot avoid challenges, but you can choose how much power you give them. You cannot stop difficult emotions from arising, but you can choose whether to let them control you. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. The wind is strong, the rain is falling, but you remain still. You do not try to stop the storm. You do not fight against it. You simply stand, knowing that it will pass, knowing that it cannot break you. This is what inner peace feels like. Not the absence of chaos, but the ability to remain calm within it. Letting go is not something you do once and never have to think about again. It is a practice, a decision you must make every day. Every time you catch yourself overthinking, Every time you feel yourself holding onto something too tightly, you have a choice: to continue carrying it or to release it. What would happen if, just for a moment, you stopped trying to figure everything out? If you stopped chasing certainty, stopped seeking validation, stopped resisting what is? What if you simply allowed yourself to exist, to breathe, to be? You do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to know exactly where you are going. Life will unfold in its own time. Your only job is to trust the process, to trust yourself, to trust that whatever is meant for you will find its way to you without force. Think of the seasons. The trees do not resist shedding their leaves in the fall because they trust that new growth will come in the spring. They do not cling to what was. They do not fear change. They embrace the cycle, knowing that everything happens exactly as it should. So why do you resist change? Why do you fear letting go? Why do you believe that holding on will bring you happiness, when all it has done is cause suffering? You are not your thoughts. You are not your past. You are not the things that did not work out. You are something deeper, something stronger, something untouchable by fleeting emotions. You are not meant to be weighed down by overthinking, by attachment, by the illusion of control. You are meant to be free,